Hi, my name's Morgan Dreamus with RT Book Reviews, and I'm joined today with Colleen Coble. And you are an inspirational author, and of course we're here at the ACFW convention. And I had to talk with you because you write two series that at RT we absolutely love.
Oh, good. That's good to hear.
You have Mercy Falls, which is a historical series set at the turn of the century, and then you also do contemporary westerns with the Lonestar. I'd like for you to maybe tell our audience a little bit about the two different series and what obviously makes them different because they're set at different time periods, but also maybe some of the similarities that readers would find.
Yes. Well, I actually started out my writing career with historicals, but my dream was always to kill people. I can't explain it. I grew up on Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, and I wanted that murder mystery going on. So that was always my dream, was to move into romantic mysteries. And so I got a great New York agent, and she helped hone that first proposal, and I left historicals behind and went into writing the mysteries with the romance, heavy romance in it too. And I was loving that. But I still kind of missed the mystery or the historical part. You know, that was where I cut my writing teeth, and I loved the research of it all. And I would run across nuggets of historical stuff that I thought would be really cool to write that again. And so one day I approached my editor, Amy McConnell at Thomas Nelson, and I said, "What would you think about me writing a historical romantic mystery that would still have my my trademark romance and my trademark setting stuff and still have the suspense in it, but it just be set in a historical time period?" First she wasn't too sure, and then she came back and she said, let's try that. And when The Lightkeeper's Daughter came out, that was the first in the historical romantic mystery genre in the Christian fiction realm. Nobody else was doing it yet, and it hit. Now there's several out there now, but it was fun to do, and I've had really great response from my readers. I wasn't sure if they would follow me, because readers can be funny.
Sometimes if they have maybe a genre or a subgenre that they like, it sometimes can be hard to make the switch. But like you said, I think a lot of your readers, they knew from you they're going to get a great story, no matter where it's set.
Yes,
they know that that's something they want to read.
Yeah, and it was fun because I was talking to an editor recently, and she was saying, that's really unusual that you have enough of a following that they will do both of those things, and they have. My readers have responded great, and they've really loved this series. And I specifically chose that time period because it's very similar to what we have today, strangely enough. That Gilded Age, it was all about money and the bigger house and the better car and all of that stuff that a lot of people deal with today.
And I think another reason, or another thing that we're seeing similarity-wise between what you write in your historicals that happened at the turn of the century and also what we're seeing today is, the woman's role in the family. Because at the turn of the century, they were starting to get jobs and looking outside the home. And of course today, oftentimes you have the two-parent household where both the mother and the father has to work outside the home.
That's exactly right. And in fact, one of the books, The Lightkeeper's Bride, the protagonist is a telephone operator, and I'm old enough, that I remember when you'd pick up the phone and the operator would say, "Number, please." So Katie does that too. She has the actual switchboard the old way, and so she was one of the early workers, and that was fun. And then The Lightkeeper's Ball, which was the newest of that series, and that cover is just. Have you seen that cover with that red dress?
The covers in general are just amazing for these books, and you look at them and it just makes you want to go there. I want to be there.
Thomas Nelson rented that dress and did a photo shoot for that, and I think they should have bought that dress for me. Don't you think so?
I agree. I think you look good in red. You do.
Yeah, red would be a great color for me.
Well, let's transition a little bit because I want to talk about your Lonestar series. Now, this is another series that is so family focused. It's all about, a lot of times it's about single mothers, because it's set in Texas, and it's kind of all around a ranch that is designed to help people.
Yeah.
Is that a good description?
Right. Yeah, I read a book called Hope Rising. It was a nonfiction book, and it was about a ranch that rescues horses and teams them up with children that are in foster care who've been abused or whatever. And they found that the horses and the children kind of healed one another. They sensed the pain in one another. And I thought, what a great, hopeful setting for a series. And so I wrote that first book thinking it was only going to be one book, Lonestar Sanctuary. But the response from the readers was so huge that I had to continue that series. And Lonestar Angel will be the fourth in that series.
And Lone Star Angel, that actually comes out this week, and I know a lot of people are really looking forward to it because, we're constantly at RT, constantly our readers are like, we love, reunited couples.
Yes.
Somebody, couples that have a past that need to work through it to get to their future together. And that is something that you absolutely do in Lone Star Angel. Like, let's talk a little bit because what this couple's been through in the past is nothing light. This is a very heavy incident that they've gone through.
Yes, they have. Well, they met in a whirlwind of a courtship and fell in love, and they Eden got pregnant out of wedlock, and they kind of have lost touch, but when she found out she was pregnant, she let Clay know, and he married her, and she just kind of thought he was doing the right thing instead of, she was never really sure he really loved her. And so they had their little girl was born, Brianna, and she was kidnapped at 6 weeks, and they thought she died when the car went into the river.
I literally can't imagine, like as a parent, I literally can't imagine a worse thing to happen, especially if both of them have questions why the other's in the relationship. You don't necessarily have the support you need to get through something like that.
That's exactly right. And it is a known thing that when a couple loses a child, often they split up because the trauma is just too great. And so that's what happened with Clay and Eden. And she's moved on with her life. It's 5 years later, and she's tried to move on as well as you can with that. And she thinks she's moving into a new relationship, and Clay shows up and says, not only are we not divorced, I never signed the papers, but I have found Brianna, and I need you to come with me to help figure out which of these little girls that are in foster care is ours. And at first she is just not at all sure that this could possibly be true. Is he delusional? What is going on?
Because talk about like a wish fulfillment. All she wants is her little girl back, and then suddenly it's possible.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so what mother would not follow that, at least to see if it could possibly be true? And she gets there, and there are 4 of these little girls that it's possible. And they go through each one of them. Okay, this one has hair that looks like mine. This one has eyes that look, you know how it can be when they're children. And Brianna was only 6 weeks old, so they didn't really know how she was going to look. You know how their eyes change color and their hair changes color, and so it was very much up for grabs. And then the person who kidnapped Brianna, basically they find out has lured them to the ranch and with an agenda. And so they have to find out which child is theirs. Eden has to learn to hope again and to trust and to believe that God really had everything under control, and to trust Clay again and to figure out which child is theirs and to defeat the villain. So there's just so much going on.
So much. Well, let's talk about, because it is an inspirational romance, let's talk a little bit about the inspirational, the Christian touches that you might put into it. Now, obviously, that there's a lot of faith there, especially on Eden's part, because I think that's really what helps her get through what she's been through. But can you talk a little bit more, especially when we're talking about suspense and mystery within a story, how you add those inspirational touches that your readers love so much?
Yes. I write from a Christian worldview. I've been a Christian a long time, and so often the things that get me through life are the things that she's dealing with, and that is she knows God is in control, and she is trying to hope that He's going to give her the desires of her heart, but it's kind of hard sometimes, as it is for us. We can be praying for something and hoping and dreaming for something, but we don't really know what God has planned, and sometimes things are very murky. And the thing that gets us through is just clinging to God and knowing that He has our best interests at heart. And I try to do that with a light touch, because I never want to beat my reader over the head with that. It's that type of outlook on life is just coming from my own heart, and so I try to make sure that that's not overdone, but it's who I am too. That is where my hope in life comes from.
Well, I think a lot of readers see that, because your stories, they do have an appeal for both inspirational Christian readers and also for people who just love a great mystery, because we are dealing with, a kidnapper who's now got an agenda. We are dealing with a couple that's reuniting, and we do have that great romance. So it really kind of spans different genres, and I think that's something that we can always find in your books. And whether we're out west or whether we're in the past, we can always get a great read.
That's the plan. And the Lone Star books are all marriage of convenience stories. And the thing I love about that is that love is a choice. Just like every day when you wake up, you have a choice on how you react to your husband and what choices you make, and if you're going to carry a grudge, all of those things go into the making of a relationship. And I love to be able to show, that love is a choice. And that's the other thing I think my readers love about the Lonestar books is that I don't necessarily shy away from the sensual side of that. I mean, but I close the bedroom door.
Right.
But my readers.
It's an important part of a relationship,
Yes.
though, and you can't ignore it or pretend like it's not there, because that's what becoming intimate both physically and emotionally with your partner means is having that kind of relationship.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think my readers have loved that, is that I don't totally ignore that part of marriage. I mean, sometimes it's obvious what's going on. Then we just have the bedroom door shut. So.
Well, like we said, Lonestar Angel is going to be out this week, so everyone has to go out and get it. And then, of course, I need to ask with Mercy Falls, what are we looking for another book? Are we going to get number 4?
Well, I have been thinking about it. So
Okay.
a lot of my readers have been asking, oh, please don't let that be the last one. And I do have another historical book coming out. It's called Blue Moon Promise. It'll be out in April. And it's set in Texas also, but it's 1870s. So it's a little different.
That sounds
setting.
great.
Yeah.
Something for us to look forward to in
right.
2012.
That's right.
Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Morgan, you've been a joy. Thank you so much.